Hi, everybody. Gabriel McCray with MyPlusFinancial.com. That's where you can find me. I'm a financial advisor, financial coach, and I am the Fly Millionaire. I'm very excited to come and talk to you today and share with you how my week was. I hope you had a great week. As I said, I'm just like you. I'm an average, regular guy trying to take my life to the next level. And when I get to that level, I'm going to take it to the level above and beyond that one. I invite you to join me on my journey. Again, I'm not a millionaire. I am doing much better in that I've been utilizing strategies to build and grow my wealth. And I'm going to share those with you. And I'm going to start with you talking with you today about the first thing, and that is control. Okay? It's a very simple word, but it's so powerful and has so much connotation in it. And as I said, I'm a regular guy just like you, and we want to work with each other. You give me feedback, I'll give you feedback, I'll give you suggestions. I welcome any sort of DM to give me suggestions. You can find me on the various social media platforms, but the fact that you found me here tells me that you're interested in at least being somewhat off, if not completely better than you are. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, then you've come to the right place, because I can work with you and show you how to get things done. But right now, let's get into control. You know, so much. Well, let me go back. I'll share an experience with you. And I'm sure this has happened to you. It's happened to all of us. You know, when you live in paycheck to paycheck, you get your check, and then after, sometimes that same day, but in a relatively short time, it's all gone, okay? And one particular time that happened to me, you know, I got my check and it was good, and I looked at it and I said, man, I sure wish this money was mine. And then wasn't too long later, a day or so, you know, I paid some bills and did some stuff, and the money was gone. And so now I'm just trying to survive and get through to the next paycheck. And what I noticed, and this is so powerful, is that nobody came up to me and said, even though it would have been true, and it is true, nobody said, you know what, your money or your life. Nobody robbed me. Nobody put a gun to my head. You know, nobody physically assaulted me. Nobody took my money. So I started thinking, well, where is my money? Where did it go? And the thing about it is that our money, generally, now we will have some large bills, but I'm talking about a concept here. So stay with me. I'm talking about a concept. Because usually the large things, you can pinpoint, oh, I made my mortgage payment, or I paid my rent, you know, I made my car payment. There are two or three things, yeah, that took a chunk of your money, and you say, okay, that's fine. You know, I gotta live, so I know where that money went. I'm okay with it. But you're like, well, where's the rest of my money? It didn't take all of my money. And this is what I'm talking about, control. There are small holes in your finances. There are like pinholes. There are some holes are small enough, but your money is leaking out. Your money is dripping out. Your money is draining out. And it's because of control. You're not controlling your money, and that's going to go back to thoughts. And we're going to go back and forth between thinking and different strategies throughout. You know, but right now, getting back to control, you're not controlling your money. And so what happens is that on your way home, you stop and you put some gas in your car. Right now with the price of gas, you know, you're putting easily $60 to $80 in your car. And if you're driving an SUV, you might be going more than that, okay? So right there, you out of $100. So let's say you had $1,000 in your pocket, right? Which you're lucky if you have that, if you done paid a few bills on your paycheck. But let's say you got, you know, you got $100 on you. Well, already you down to 20. So that 100 is shot. All right, let's give you another 100. So we done took care of the gas. So this 100 isn't for that gas. So you get the phone call, you need to stop, you need to bring something home to eat. If you're single, maybe you eat out yourself, and maybe you meet up with some friends and you guys do something. But that's going to be $20 generally plus, okay? If you eat lunch and dinner, or like I say, you coming home and you just buying some stuff for dinner, then that's going to be, you know, for the meal, between $30 to $50. That's just for that meal, right? So you got to stop, you got to get this. So let's say I'm over exaggerating, because, there's some people out there with a pencil and paper and they're trying to say, no, he's lying, he's not, as I said, this is just to work with people like me and understand that I'm just being generic. I'm giving you some generalizations so that I can tell you that, hey, I'm doing better. You can do better. Let's do this together. I'm no millionaire. I'm not even close to a millionaire, but my life is improving, and I'm inviting you to join me along the journey. But let's get back to our money and control. So $35. Well, now that $100, you only got $65. Well, you have to know, if you've lived it, and I've definitely lived it, when you break 100, it's gone. All right? And you will get home and you will put like $22, $21 on the dresser, and you're baffled. And so that's what I'm saying. The control you have over your money is mind-blowing. It's dripping out, it's leaking out, it's it's going here, it's going there. And so when you get your paycheck, that's one of the biggest reasons that you are paycheck to paycheck, because you're not controlling your money. You have no control over your money. You have very little control over your life, and your life, of course, is manifested by its foundation, the money, your finances. You got to get control of your finances, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But control is everything, and you want to be in a position where you stop reacting and start responding. Reacting is negative. Responding is positive. It's back to the universal law of opposites, okay? When you react, it's external. You are being told what to do. You're being manipulated. You're being maneuvered. You are having to take some action based on something. Whereas you respond, you look at something, and this is my definition for it, and this is the way I'm using it. You look at something in advance. You already have things in place. You have contingencies. You have plans. You already know. And so that's a much stronger place to be in your life and in your finances than reacting. You want to get to the point where you stop reacting. And the best way to stop reacting is to be in control. Now, we obviously cannot control everything, all right? That would be ludicrous to even think of that. So again, I'm talking about a concept. But going back to your money, as far as control, all those little places where money is trickling out, it's leaking out, it's a little bit here, it's a little bit there, those are going to be what we're going to identify as small wins. You need to find those places and you need to attack them. You need to plug those holes as best you can. You either need to do one of two things, if not both things. You either need to prevent it or you need to mitigate it, at least lessen it, okay? Either one of those, though, will put you in control and it's just going out and you don't know about it. You want to do the best you can when you're trying to build your wealth, improve finances, better your life. You want to simplify things. And simplification will give you a framework. It will give you a quick foundation, a quick platform. It'll give you something quickly to stand on. And from there, you'll be in a lot stronger position. So you want to get yourself used to where you are more organized and where you communicate better. Those things are going to help you tremendously when it comes to control. All this is about control, okay? We want to focus on control. And you're going to quickly realize that the majority, if not all things, happen singular. Things happen in pairs, combinations, multiples, okay? One thing is not just one thing, even though you can start with one thing, it has ramifications. And that's why there's the old saying, ripples in a pond. One thing affects another thing, which affects another thing. So if you are maybe stumped as to what to do, or you're feeling a little bit, again, stuck in your finances, a good place to start is to look at control. Look at how you're being controlled. Look at how you're controlling your finances. Look at who is controlling you. Look at what it is you're controlling, okay? All those little places that your money is leaking out, some of them quite literally are necessary. You need to do those things. But like I said, if you can't prevent it, then can you mitigate it? Can you slow it down? Can you maybe, skip it? Can you do it this week, but maybe a week or two, you don't have to do it. Then the next week you can do it. But you want to get proactive. And being proactive, of course, means control. You want to get to the point, again, where you are responding instead of reacting. The lifestyle that you live when you're day to day, when you're paycheck to paycheck, when you have less money than you need to do things, it greatly impacts your future. And it's called an opportunity cost. And we'll come to that a little bit later. But one of the biggest things is that what other people call an emergency fund, I call an opportunity fund. It's not just, but it has a lot to do with access to capital. And so if you can start to pinch off a little bit of something and put it away, then you're going to feel better. And that feeling alone is going to show you that you're now getting in control, because you'll start to feel better about yourself and about your life. And I told you, I'm just like you. I'm a regular person. The strategies that I teach you and I work with you on about building and improving your finances are right now, today, with you, that makes sense. And I'm going to share with you how I work with my clients as a financial advisor and as a financial coach. You don't have to wait until you have this tremendous amount of wealth to say, okay, well, now I need a financial advisor, I need a financial planner. That's BS, that's baloney. The people that need it the most usually are the ones that don't have it. And the people that need it the most, that could get by without it, you can almost bet your last dollar that they all have financial guidance and financial advisors in place to help them. So coming back to just the everyday person and control, let me show you one area and show you how easy this is and how simple it is and the ramifications it has. Let's take mail, right? If you start saying, okay, if you're like me, I hate mail, okay? Because I know when I go to the mailbox, and I'm guilty of this, I will get my mail and I'll just leave it unopened until I feel like I just, because I know there's nothing good there. Years ago, and again, things change, but that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, change. Years ago, we used to get mail. People would write us, and we would write people. But now, it's either junk mail or bills. It's one of those two. And you quickly can tell what's junk mail, so you know everything else is a bill. And so I let stuff stack up. I literally, it just piles up right there. And I'm talking to you about control. And so once I made the decision, hey, you know what? Again, start simple. Things are not in singular, they're in pairs, they multiply out, they radiate out. I said, you know what? I'm just going to start with my mail. I'm going to find what is it I hate about this mail so much, and then starting right there, again, responding instead of reacting, put a solution in place. And so what I found that works with me, and I'd like to share with you, and I work with my clients like this, and more than anything else, I want you to get out of the fact that I don't attack the problems that's keeping you from having the lifestyle you want through not having the money that you want to have, the wealth you want to have, in the same generic way. That's how I got into this, because again, I saw that stuff I was being asked to do, it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, well, where I came from, my background, my roots, the people I know, who would do that? And so it didn't make any sense. And that's how My Plus Financial came about. It had to make sense, and it had to make sense for the regular average guy, for somebody who is probably making hourly or at best is maybe a professional, somebody who has a solo practice. But coming back to mail, what I found that works beautifully and I'm sharing it with you, and I hope you adopt it, is that in order to be in control, I'm going back to mail, we need to be organized. We need to be organized, and then we need to communicate. Organization and communication. All right, let's go back to control. Organization and communication. How it applies to mail is this. What I did was I got me some manila file folders. Then I got a 2-drawer cabinet that I got at Walmart. At the time, it was like $59, I think. You can find it on, you can find it used like a Craigslist or an office supply store that sells office furniture used. And again, I'm sharing all this because I share and attack all of your problems or your concerns when it comes to your finances the exact same way. I make it real, I make it relative, and I make it easy, and I make it where it makes sense. Okay, so back to the mail. So I get a manila folder, I get a 2-drawer file cabinet, and if you don't want to get a 2-drawer file cabinet, maybe space is limited, then what you can do is at any office supply store, as well as Walmart or Target or wherever it is you shop yourself, you can get a file box. It's just about this high. Because space may be a problem. It's just about to be this wide. And that could easily do it for you as well. Because I found out that most people don't really have more than 50 people that correspond with them on a regular basis. Most of them is just repeats. But let's say even past 50, you double, hell, you go up to 100. This box will still work for you. So the manila file folders, they come in a pack of 50. You get the hanging green file holders to put them in. That's what you're going to put in your file box or in your drawer. Now, if you get the drawer, be careful because sometimes you have to put a bracket in there to hold it. See, I told you, I'm right with you and I know how all this works. And so that's why I told you we can work on this together. I'm improving my life. Let's improve yours together. Back to the mail. So then what I decided was, remember, where every time you have a problem, you have a solution. So my problem was I hated opening the mail because I didn't want to see what was in it. Well, the solution is open the mail and don't look at what's in it, okay? Just don't even address it. Just do the action. So boom, you open your letter. Let's say you get your phone bill. A lot of bills now come to you in emails or that sort of thing, but let's just go with mail for right now, actual physical paper mail. You can do this likewise on the, on the internet. I use Gmail. You can just set up a file for Gmail, put your stuff in there as well. But let's just stick with paper mail right now to show you a different way to do this. And as I touched on before, but it bears repeating, is that there is more than one way to achieve results, to get something done. There's more than one way to be the right way. One way, it might be better for me. There might be a different way better for you. But we share and take out of this what you can. If there's nothing for you, then just leave it. But this is very simple and it's effective and it's very powerful, very powerful. So open a letter for just example's sake. We're gonna say you open your letter, you got your T-Mobile bill, you got your AT&T bill, whoever it is you're using, Verizon, whatever it is. So you got your bill. Immediately on the tab of the manila folder, you write T-Mobile. You want to write whatever the company it is, because that's going to make it easier for you to find and get back to later. Remember I told you organization and communication. Quickly, as a little side note, one of the things that cause you to stay poor, and when I say poor, I'm talking about lose your money, is that we waste a lot of time and we look for stuff. We can't find stuff. We pass dates. We pass deadlines. That's what happens with me and my mail. And that's how it's going to be important to you, and I'll come back to that. So you want to put this in there where if you need to reference it, you need to find it. You can say, okay, my T-Mobile bill. You open it, there it is, T-Mobile. You can always write along the edge or somewhere else some sort of comma, a more common way you think of it, such as phone bill. So you can write T-Mobile, comma, phone bill, okay? You could reverse it if it makes more sense to you, but I'm going to tell you why you want to stick with the name of the company in a moment. So you then able to take that bill and Notice we haven't addressed the amount of it or anything. That's too painful for you. I'll tell you how we can handle that a little bit later, right? But you just open it. You take it there and you put T-Mobile and you put it in the manila folder, you put it in the hanging file folder, and you put it away. What have you done? You've taken that bill that was just stacked up. You've now reduced all that junk so that junk, when I'm talking about piles of letters, and you've made it neat, you've made it organized, and the information in there now is where you can communicate with it and it can communicate with you. We're not at that point yet. I'll come back to that in a minute. And so you take all your stack of bills and you do that one right after the other. You do your utility bill. You do your car payment, whatever paper bill it is you're getting. As I said, some of them you got auto pay on, but we're just talking about mail, okay? Any mail that you get that's a bill, you put it in a folder, you put it in a hanging file folder, and then there it is. It's neat. That stack that was like that for me went down, it went out of sight. It's gone, it's done, okay? That's the first thing. So that allowed me now to be able to get any sort of mail and then quickly know what to do with it, do something with it in a manner that I can find, I can get my hands on, so I'm organized with it, and I can then from there move on to the next step. And I'll come to that in just a second. But do all your mail like that. Get it, open it, put it away, and you're done. Now I have no problem getting my mail and opening it and putting it away. Okay, the next step, out of sight, out of mind. All right, now it's time to deal with it, the communication part. Remember we were talking about control, how money leaks out, how money gets away. Well, one of the ways, and you probably figured this out already, I was guilty of, and it's been hampering me, and it was killing me, and it was taking my money. There's late fees, there's penalties, there's disconnections, there are deposits due, because when stuff get cut off, instead of you being able to make a payment or an installment on it, they say, okay, well, you know what, this has been disconnected. In order to get it back on, you got to pay the bill in total. All right, whereas you could have paid a smaller portion on it, and not only that, you got to pay some sort of deposit on it. And so now that's cost you so much more money. These are ways that money trickle out, okay? And I'm just using this example. There are other ways. You know, we're not talking about the Starbucks coffee, which has been beat to death. You know, you want to attack your finances. You want to get in control of your finances, but you want to do it in a way that's real to you, that won't make it where life isn't worth living, where, you know, it's like you sitting in sackcloth and ashes at the village gate, you know, saying alms for the poor. Okay, there is a way that you can better yourself, that you can improve yourself, and you can do it realistically. And again, we're going to stack. We're going to do small, everyday things that make sense, and that you say, yeah, I can do that, I can handle that, because you don't want to give up. We want consistency. We want stick-to-itiveness. Once we start on this path, remember, we want to go from A to Z. Anywhere else off the path, that means that that's where we were headed. And we thought we were headed this way, but if we stopped there, that's where we were going. Back to the mail. The next thing is, now that I got a place for the mail, I can now open all my mail. I had a trash can right there by me. It feels so good. Get rid of all those extra envelopes. Hey, you know, put your money in this envelope and send it in today. Well, hell, I ain't getting ready to put my money in the envelope and send it in today, because I ain't ready to put my money in the envelope and send it in today. I may or may not have it. I'll decide when I'm going to put my money in the envelope and send it in. So that envelope goes in the trash right now. The envelope that it came in, that goes in the trash. Okay, all that little extra paperwork that came with it, that goes in the trash. So what am I left with? I'm left with now the beauty of communication. You have now taken control of a central part of your life, control. You've taken correspondence, you've put it in a place that is designated, that either through numbers or letters. That's the only way that you're going to store stuff. You're going to file stuff away based on numbers, or you're going to use letters. So right now we're using letters, the alphabet. So what you've done, though, to dig into this deeper, remember I told you things don't happen in isolation. When you open this thing, using T-Mobile, your cell phone bill as an example, and I'm just using, again, these guys, you have now at your fingertips the company, contact information for the company, what's due, when it's due, your account number, you have things now that make you feel in control. You know, when you get the phone call and you answer the phone and they got all the information, you ain't got nothing. They say, well, Mr. McCray, your bill is past due. Well, hell, you don't know when it's past due. You just know it's, well, when was it due? You don't know. All right, but it's going to be on that letter for you. It tells you when your bill is due. You ain't even sure the amount. So we want to know how we can make arrangements to settle the amount of, and they give you some number, which is usually news to you at that point. So again, by putting this away, you now can talk with this person eye to eye, knowledge level to knowledge level, because now you are not reacting. You are able to respond. You know what's going on. So you know who they are. You got the account number if you need to reference something, which you might and will later on. You know what's due. You know when it's due. You can avoid penalties. You can avoid other fees that, again, pinholes, small holes, pinpricks, nail holes, anything that's allowing your money to trickle out. So you want your cell phone, but now you're paying more for it than you need to pay for it because of these extra things that tack fees on. So when you get your check, guess what? That's another way. There's different ways. I'm only talking about this way, how your money goes out of your check so fast and you don't know where it went. Well, some of it went in interest and penalties. And again, some of it went in deposits you had to make. If it was something you need, you had no choice. You got to get your cell phone back on. Sometimes you was going to pay one thing, and now you have to take that money from that and address this because you look and know, oh, it's due today, or they're going to disconnect, or it's going to be due before you get your next check. So again, we're talking about control. So now we passed the organization part. I've shown you how we want to organize that. Organization, communication. Now we're on the communication part. You are now able then to address that. And what I do on that manila folder right there on the tab is I write a number. I look at the amount of the bill, and I put on there, if the bill is $100, then I put 100. But if it's 150, 175, if it's anything past 100, you put the next number, 2. Okay, that means that when you're ready to pay this bill, it's less than $200. And we're going to come to bill pay and the snowball effect and all that later on. I'll tell you how we're going to address that as well. Because, again, the way I work with you is so different. The way I work with you is so real. I'm hoping that this is getting through to somebody who's stuck, and you say, you know what, he gets it, he knows where I'm coming from. I won't be ashamed or embarrassed to talk to him, because those are my clients. Those are the people I want to work with. The people that are way up here, they got people calling them, sending them mail, throwing themselves at them. But you and me, we're down here, nobody cares about you, bro. Nobody cares about you, sis. Nobody wants to help you. Their business model doesn't include you. It's not a personal thing where it's you personally. The whole point of being business is to make money. If you're not making money, then you're a nonprofit, okay? Which means you're out of business, you're a charity. So the whole point of business in and of itself is to make money. So their business model doesn't include you. They want your money, but they don't want you, because you don't have enough money for it to be profitable for them to do business with you. But what it is, they would take your money and put with other money, and that's what happened when I was an investment rep, is that you then are worth something to them collectively. But back to what I was telling you about the communication. So now you have all this information where now you can start to address how you are going to handle your finances, your bills, and the way other people think about you, and the way you live your life less stressful, and the way you attack your finances. You're going to improve them, you're going to build wealth, you're going to create wealth. And the thing about having this document now, you have the same information that they have. So again, you're able now to talk to them in a way that you can talk to them with confidence, you can talk to them with strength, you can talk to them with control. Hey, this is who I am, this is what we're talking about, and you're looking at the same information I'm looking at. So now on the outside of this, you have an amount. So you look at your money and you say, you know what? I got this amount of money left. I can do this much to a bill, be it $10 or $1,000. It doesn't mind. It doesn't matter. You take the bill that you got the most money for. You look through these envelope file folders, and I'll tell you how we're going to do that in a minute as well. And you say, okay, I can address a bill for $100 or less. So maybe you got a bill that's $59, $69. The number that you have on that envelope is going to be up to that number. If it's $101, yeah, you can get away with that. You can still put 1 on there. But if it's 130, 140, then you want to put 2 on there. Okay, so you find the folder that has that number on it, that the amount of money that you can attack it with, and that is the folder now that you can address. All right, now, of course, what you're thinking, and I'm gonna get to it right now, the date. That's the next thing. Of course, there's the amount, but then more important than that is the date. Well, you can attack that in these ways, and this is what I do as well. You can do the 4 weeks in a month, right? So we just keep it simple, 1 through 7. Then the next week, 8 through 15, then 16, on like that. But or you can just simplify it with week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Okay, and then you got one folder, which is your red folder. Okay. And again, this is just a sample, and this is what I use, and it's been tremendous. You can modify it, you can tweak it, but this gives you something to think about and something to work with. So back to your T-Mobile bill, it's due on the 12th, okay? It's due on the 12th. You look at it, so you obviously want to put this bill, that folder, it's in sections, your files. You want to put that in a folder, in a section that is either in the first week or the second week. If this case is the 12th, okay, that means in week 2. So you put it in week 2, or you put it in that numerical folder. And that's the way you're able then to attack dates. You get to it either on that date or before that date, preferably before that date, right? But again, depending on where you start and how backed up you are and how far you are, now you can grab that envelope. Oh, I need to address everything in this envelope. That's the 12th. So obviously you've then put these in numerical order. But I just like doing the week at first. Week 1, week 2, 3, and 4. That's so much simpler, keeps it cleaner. And then you have a red envelope, okay? And you can also do it, not envelope, I'm sorry. You have a red folder. If you got to do something ASAP right away, soon as you get paid, you may not even want to put it in week 1, week 2. You can put it in the red folder. They have folders come in different colors. But by using the folder and hanging file system, you can control so much of your life through now being able to organize the different bills you have, the different people you deal with, and you can also communicate better. So that's an example of how we're losing out, we being me and you. I'm always starting with me. I don't know you. I don't act like I'm an expert on you. I'm telling you what works for me. I'm telling you the principles that I've tapped into, and the principles I've tapped into are universal principles. They're scientific principles. They're financially sound strategies, and it's making so much of a change in my life. And like I said, I want to share it with you, and I want to do it before I reach the top, because when I reach the top, I'm going to bring you message in a different way at a different level. But back to control, we are so much in that react mode. External forces, external environments, external environment is the same word, I guess. But anyway, things are coming from outside, and we keep having to respond to that. We're never where we're calling the shots. You know, we're not the boss. We're always reacting, and we want to get to the point where we respond, where we've thought about this thing, and we are able to now to have less stress, be more in control. And let's talk about savings, because that's going to help us in addition to communication and organization of mail. We're talking about control. savings control. You know, I tell you, and I will reiterate it because I never know how much of this you're listening to or who's coming in at what point or what needs to be gone over and over. And that is, we're out of control in our life, and so we're constantly reacting instead of responding. Savings allow you to, again, be able to take advantage of opportunities. So that's why it's an opportunity fund. I told you I'm like you, and I'm an everyday sort of guy, and I'm just trying to better myself, and I know I can, and I know you can too. And you live in paycheck to paycheck, and you're saying, you know what, I really don't have enough to save. That's a false statement, and I'm going to show you why you need to turn that around and why you have to do it. And then I keep telling you I'm an everyday guy, and that I work with you on a different level. It's more on a real level. 99% of the financial advisors and in financial advice tell you that you need to do what? You need to save 10% of your income. You need to pay yourself first. Those two things are almost like biblical Bible. Well, I have a financial Bible. Mine is totally different from theirs. Number one, there's two ways to save. You can spend and save, or you can save and spend. It's going to come into one of those two, okay? You're either spending first, and then you saving later, depending on what you're able to hold back, or you're taking some out first, and then you're spending. So you never hear that. I don't know if I'm the only one to say it, but I know I'm in the minority. So again, that should make you feel better. Like, wow, finally he ain't going to tell me, save 10% of my income. Well, let's talk about that. You don't need to save 10% of your income. What you need to save is something. You need to save what you can. And you need to make that 1%, 10%, 60%, 50%. They got this new thing called a FIRE movement. Financial independence, retire early. Those guys are killing, right? They living off 30% of their income, saving 70. They living off 40% of their income, saving 60. So you can save any amount. And the reason that myth, all right, doesn't work for you and me is because if you listen, 10% of 1,000 is a lot different than 10% of 100. So if you got $1,000 and you take out 10%, $100, and you put that aside, well, you can do something with that with $900. So okay, fine, you save 10%. But if you got $100 and you take out, first of all, 100 is not enough to do anything with, and you're trying to make it. But if you take out $10 out that 100 and now you only got 90, well, hell, you couldn't even make it off the 100. You certainly can't make it off the 90. Okay, so the percentage has to be viewed in that respect. What is it that you're really working with? What are you trying to do? What do you need to do? What do you have to do? But one thing that's undeniable is that you need to put something away for yourself. Now, the thing about blocking a lot of people from savings, and it blocked me from savings for so long, is that, number one, you're in that mindset that you don't have enough. That's the first thing. But there's another thing, and it was tricky, and I didn't really understand it, and that's this right here. Your savings is not a bill. Let me say that again. Your savings is not a bill. A lot of times, and I was guilty of this, well, I really can't afford to save no money. Because I was viewing that savings as if I take that money out of my money, then it's like I'm giving it to someplace or somebody and I don't have it anymore. But that's not the case. So that's going to help the first one, which I'll come back to, is that you don't have enough. If you take some money and you set it aside and you're wrong and you miscalculate, especially when you're struggling at first, okay? Go back and get the money. It's your money. You didn't do anything with the money. You just simply took it out of this money and put it aside. It's not a bill. You didn't lose the money. The money didn't go anywhere. It's so hard to save money because you're like, man, I just got this $100, this, and I take this 10 out of it. I got this 1,000. I take this 100 out of it. I ain't got enough. I need all of it. Well, just try to see if you don't have to use it. If you do have to use it, you got it. You can get it. It's your money. You didn't give it to anybody. You didn't spend it on anything. You just simply moved it from one envelope to the next envelope. It's your money, okay? So it's not a bill, but that comes from that way of thinking. You make money to pay bills, and then you make money to buy stuff. And anything that's not in those two scenarios, it's not getting touched. You'll deal with it later, okay? So that's the first thing about savings. The other one, you don't have enough. Well, that's a flat out lie, and I had to accept it, and I want to share with you why you have to accept it. You are embarrassed and a little bit ashamed and a little bit doubtful that small amounts can achieve anything, mean anything, can do anything, that they have any relevance. And so you say, you know what? This is just such a little amount. I got $1,000. I'm going to put $20 up. You're like, well, hell, $20 ain't no money. If that's all I can put up, there's no need to put that up. And it's that statement right there, you're wrong. There's no need. There is a need. Because 20 on top of 20 on top of 20 will eventually get you to what? More than 20. And it'll get you to where you want to be. So that's the first thing. There's some amount of money, even if it's one dime, even if it's one nickel, if it's one quarter. If you got $100 and you save a nickel, you have still saved something. And so understand two things. You got enough money to save, and your savings is not a bill. Whatever you save is still your money. Those two things right there blow savings out the water. Do those two things. Take something out of what you have, do it as consistently as you can, and understand that it's your money and that you can get it if you have to. That's the key word. You want to have to. You don't want to just do it just because you feel like it, or just because it's good, or because it would make it easier on you in that moment. You need it and you have to have it. That's when you can go get it. And when you go get it, obviously, you don't want to put yourself back down to zero. Leave something there if you can. All right? $1, 1 penny, $10, $200. Don't just break the bank if you have to go back to it. And you will start to save, and it will start to build, and it'll start to stack up on you. And again, what do we start this talking about? Control, right? So now you know you got a little something put aside that makes you feel somewhat in control. You know you're not where you need to be yet. You know that you can't handle everything with that yet, but you're starting to feel better inside. And once you start to have, which is often thought of to be the greatest, and it's not totally, but it is key, access to capital, you will start to feel better about, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can start to take control of my finances and, build wealth, increase wealth. The thing of it is that those two things alone will take you so much further as far as peace of mind, as far as feeling better about yourself, and as far as the spring that's going to be in your step, the confidence level that is going to allow you to be able to face your life with day to day, where you'll be able to interact with your family and friends. You're going to start right there by control. That one thing, and it's going to snake its way into other things, whine, touch on, whatever word you want to use. Things are not in and of themselves. When you get your bills, you'll be able to organize them. You'll be able then to communicate with yourself as well as to who you're addressing, what the bill is about. The beauty, I hope I touched on it enough, but I want to reiterate it, is that when you call somebody and say, hey, you know what, my bill is this amount, you know what it is, you're looking at it, it's due on this date, you're driving the conversation now. You're not on the other end saying, yes, no, this, and it's due on this date. I want to set up installments for it. They're going to say, well, what do you want to do? And now you can drive the conversation and you have the facts. You know how it is when you get a bill, and this happens so many times to me in the past, where if they don't have good information, if they don't have good organization, nobody would know what's going on. They called me and said, Mr. McCray, I'm using T-Mobile as an example. This is T-Mobile. I'm like, okay, why are you calling me? Well, sir, we really don't know. We just calling you. Well, how do you even know I'm a customer? Well, we just was told to call you. Where'd you get my number from? But see, all that information is on the bill. Your account number, that's how they know how to call you. They know that you're a customer, that you owe them money, because it shows that there's a certain amount due, there's a date, and you hadn't paid the money by that date. It shows when you signed up. It shows your phone number, your contact information. They didn't just do like this and pick out the book and then just call you, So now you got that same information. You got their contact information. You got their phone number. You got their address. If you have the same dates and figures that they have. All that's on it. Oh, and this is the other thing. Almost forgot it, and this is crucial. So again, as I told you, most of us do not have, more than 50 people that we owe money to, and that's a lot. That's a lot. But most people don't pass that. But if you do, let's say you do, it doesn't matter. But we're just going to work with that within that level. What happens is after you have done this once, you don't have to do it every time you get bills. You don't have to do it over and over. That manila folder is there. That hanging file folder is there. That label for your phone bill, your utility bill is there. That work is already done. You only had to do it once, and you're going to reap benefits for days, months, weeks, years to come. This is the thing that will just make you sleep like a baby at night. When the next month's bill comes for T-Mobile or any of these other bills that you have in there, if it's a new one, then you start a new folder. But when the next month bill comes, you got your trusty, handy, I love it, trash can sitting right there. You don't need the old bill. You're going to take out the old bill, you're going to open the envelope, which I now do not mind doing it, and you're going to put it in the new file. I said envelope, I meant file. So I get this month's bill, I take it out, I put it in there. You say, okay, well, what about the dollar amount that you put up in the corner? Well, you can cross it out, and now you can put the new in there, or you can write over it, or if it's gotten too messy, you can start a new file folder. Tell you why I say that, because after a while, you're going to get on top of your bill such that, and I'm guilty of this, and I found out how to stop it. My bills are always changing because I never had it at the agreed upon amount. I always owed, so I was always making payment. So one month is $100, the next month is $300. I pay a little bit on and keep it on. The next month is down to $200. But once you get where you're paying your bill what it should be every month, generally within reason, it's going to stay down to within the plan, which that goes out the window, because you don't never stay in the plan. The bill is constantly fluctuating because you're always doing whatever it is you want to do as far as the money and the way you handle it, control is trickling out. But that bill will stay there. And eventually you might, yes, and it won't kill you, go with a new manila folder. And now you may not even have to put the dollar amount on there anymore because your finances improve such that you only need to put it in just the folder, week 1, week 2, week 3. You only, because it's going to be $100, $200, but it's not going to be some crazy amount. And plus now you have more money where you can deal with different amounts. And by the way, let's say you put a bill, which can happen in week 2, but you didn't pay it in week 2, well, you can take it out there, the manila folder, and put that manila folder in week 3, okay? So that's the flexibility to this. You can still, because some of us are not so paper-oriented, you can still download all kind of budget apps and everything for your phone, and you can work it that way. I told you I'd come to that, and that's what the last piece of this is about. That's a beautiful thing, but I was addressing it from the issue of paper. But you can always take a picture of it. You can then start folders on your phone, and you can put that picture in that folder, and now you still got all the same information. Another way that you can do it, and this is all about control, is you can go into your contact and you can add all that information once there with your account number, due date, which you can set up a reminder, and then you can put the address of and sometimes, be careful, the payment address that you need to send, submit, or mail payments into, and we'll come to using your cell phone, is different than the physical address where the corporate headquarters is. Okay, so keep that in mind, because on your phone you can have more than one address, and you can label them, custom label. So you can put main as the label for one address, and then other, put right there, accounts payable or bills or whatever it is where you need to send the money to. The other thing, and now we're talking digital, all the same strategies work. You can have it on auto pay, or you can set up a reminder. What I don't like about auto pay is until you get to a certain point, you are juggling bills, and so having money trying to come out automatically can put you in a world of hurt. So you can at least put a reminder that a bill is due, and on the reminder you put how much is due, and you can tackle it from there based on what it is you want to pay. The last thing is that some people, not all people, very few right now are using checks. But the other paper way allow you to submit a check if you want to submit a check. A check can be a good paper record for you. Of course, you can look at your bank statement as well. So the point that I don't want to get lost in this is trying to tell you all the different ways, though, is use that to get you started either digitally or physically, paper, with attacking the issue of control. And again, that's what this whole thing has been about. But as you can see, it goes into different areas. And the main area for control is that as you keep fighting this thing, and as you keep making small wins, they will have big impacts. And so you don't have to try to go for a home run if you're not a home run hitter. You can do what you can do, and you can certainly do something, but you have to stop doing nothing. And I realized a little bit ago that, and this is going to sound like a play on words, but when you do nothing, here we go, that's actually doing something, okay? And so the something that you're doing, sounds crazy, is nothing. You're just not taking any action, and so you are becoming what other outside influences and what other people are acting upon. So now you are responding, and you want to get yourself where you can stop, not responding, that you're now reacting. And you want to get yourself where you stop reacting and start responding. Hopefully you're getting some value out of this. There's a lot to this. I have a lot of content to give you. I'm putting these out once a week. Each one, I try to get better and better. I try to get more and more relaxed, because the more relaxed I am, the more I can tell you. And this is beautiful. It's good information. It's information that'll work for you. The principles are there, and it's not that difficult. But more than anything, it's the mind shift. The mindset is what you know. The mind shift is what you do. You got to do something about all this different knowledge that you're going to get, all this different information that you come across so many times, and that's why I'm talking to you. You can hear the same thing over and over and over again. You can read it over and over again. But until, they say, when the servant is ready, the master will appear. So until you are at that point in your life, as my sister likes to say, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then you'll do something about it. So I'm just coming here. Maybe you don't want to, you're like, yeah, but maybe you don't want to take no action. Maybe you don't want to do nothing on this right now. That's okay. That's okay. It's whenever you're ready, and when you're ready, I'm ready. You can always get some help. You can always, if not me, somebody else, anybody. But just don't settle for less than life has to offer. And this is a big world. It's beautiful. There's so many places to go, so many things to do, so many things to see, so much good food out there, so much wonderful activities that you can enjoy and share in with people that are close to you, or even if you're doing it by yourself. Don't settle. Don't settle, okay? Just start to imagine, what would it be like? That's a good place to start. In your imagination with, what if? What if I had this amount of money? What would I do with it? What if I could eat there? What if I could eat dinner every night? Where would I go? And then just let that become the fuel. Just let that thing start consuming. Just let it go from a small little ember into a flame, into a fire, until it's just you burst, until it's just burning you up, okay? Don't stop with just being okay, going to work and coming home, paying bills and buying some stuff. I made mention to you earlier about, and I wanted to come back to this, your money or your life. You may not believe it, but not to be too dramatic, it is your money or your life. And the reason I say that, and if you think about it, it's true, is because as long as you're making money at a level to pay your bills and just buy stuff, think about it. Something at some point, at some time, and it's 100% guaranteed is going to happen, and we won't all be able to make money. And if you can't make money physically, then your money is going to stop. So while you can right now, you need to start saying, you know what, I got to figure this out, okay? I got to do better than I'm doing, because paying your bills will stop. Your bills will they're going to still coming in, keep coming in if you can't make the money. And the stuff that you want to buy, well, guess what? I don't know how true this is, but I heard that the accountant for a celebrity who had filed bankruptcy, and they were in court and they were blaming the accountant for it, who said, you know what? I didn't think I needed to tell them. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Sometimes you're dropping bombs, you're dropping nuggets. I didn't think I needed to tell them that when you spend your money, what you end up with is what you spent your money on. When you spend your money on stuff, you no longer have the money, you have the stuff. So that's a conversation later that we're going to talk about, getting value out your money. But I want to bring it back now to wrap this up and bring it home in that paying your bills and buying stuff when you can't pay your bills because you're not able to, and I'm talking about physically able to, and the stuff that you bought, when you look over there and this stuff can't do you any good, this is the time now that you need to start to dream and say, what if, and make plans and make goals and put things in action and take the steps and do the things and say the things and go to places and educate yourself. Because there's only two things going on here: what you think and what you do. And those two things equal your life. What you think and what you do. Remember I told you, give yourself a frame of reference, a platform, somewhere that you can quickly go that'll be your safe space. And to do that, you want to break things down to bite-sized pieces, into nuggets, all right? A couple of key things. And that's where you can then fall back and you can knock those key things out. When I'm doing sales, and I'm gonna wrap this up quick, I got 4 things that I do. Activity, okay? Confidence, creativity, and focus. And I can fall on that, and then I'm able to then go ahead and move on to my next sale when I'm talking or to a next prospective client. But we'll talk about more all that later. Stick with me, because there's a lot of information out there, and I'm doing my best to bring you whatever I can as the Fly Millionaire. All right, thank you so much. I'll see you next time.